hates that it cannot speak. All night it rages. The garden is battered, the small path is lost to mud. Slates have slipped. There's mud in the bricks and the floors are dirty. No matter how high the heating, I cannot get warm. When I sleep, I dream in yellow, sun pouring down me like rain. Then I'm naked and everything I touch is hot. Sky glares, bushes are loaded with fruit, flowers are open. I'm a shit. Morning. You're at the bed's far side. The room smells of something hidden. The river is angry with rain. Roads are blocked and the lines are down. I stretch out my arm, but I can't reach you. I cannot reach you at all. How I heard. I heard rain like conversation. I heard the warning, more to come. I heard the front door slamming, and I heard my phone insisting. I heard Todmorden was going, Mythenroyd had gone. I did not hear the siren. I heard a sound like anger, and all night long the river. I heard rumors of disaster like pain. I heard the water, and I heard the school was under, and I could not get warm. I saw the blue lights flashing, and I heard my neighbors shouting. I heard warning, yes. I saw the river rising, but I did not see this coming. Roads and paths covered, flash flooding on steeper slopes. The air is forest. The road is blocked with trees. There is noise between them. And no word except river. The canal is fast. River, the path is deep. River, the river is a story that can't be believed. The birds have all left the woods. The lane is a ripped up book. And as much as you know of rain, this rain is taking everything. Your clothes forget themselves. Your shoes have never been dry. It has drowned the rabbits. They could not escape from the cage where you kept them. It is lifting the hens in their coop. You can still hear them scream. It breaks your phone and the lights. You are left in the total dark. When your town is a river and everywhere you love is going under, when even the boats can't float, when the water is at your door and rising, when the mice have all fled upstairs, when no one can reach you, the only choice you can make is what you can lift and save, is not to forget you can leave, is to wade with the weight of a child on your shoulders, is to follow instructions for crossing deep water, though the current grows steadily stronger and deeper. Your house is a river. Now swim. Flood town. I am the track blocked with rubble. I am rubble. I am the tea time commuter come home to a town in disaster. I am on my phone. I am the man saying fuck over and over. I am up to my axles in muck. I am that one car floating. I am those who did not make it up the hill. I am the battery dead in the cold. I am the phone's blank screen. I am the siren that sounded too late. I am the neighbor with the cigarette. I am too wet to smoke. I am the gate you leaned on. I am the schools all shut. I am the children. I don't know whether to cry. Where should I go? I am the mother knee deep. I cannot stop saying fuck. I would like to go home now. I am the rain, a town in ruins. Fuck. Fuck. My father was no ordinary man. I was asked to write this for, I'm just stepping outside the sequence for a moment. This is kind of loosely related to the sequence. It was part of a project that was set up in Britain around the Clifton Suspension Bridge, very famous bridge in a city called Bristol. And its construction is always attributed to Isambard Kingdom Brunel, who was a big figure in the Industrial Revolution, but actually it was designed by a woman. And the woman is always accredited with this quote, something about, it does not become a woman to boast. And clearly she didn't boast, so we don't know that she designed this bridge. Her name is largely forgotten, and ironically, I have forgotten it tonight. I'm 45, and this thing is happening with names, and my memory, and my eyes, and my joints. But anyway, I digress. So we set up Project Boast, and we got women poets to write lots of boast poems. Actually, it is really hard to boast about yourself. So I ended up boasting about my father. And in lots of ways, as you can hear, it's not so much a boast. My father was no ordinary man. My father could fly. He needed no father. He had mother, the hunger of 4 older brothers. My father was one of an army of brothers, and he knew all the ways of men. My father was handsome and worshipped by women. His loins were a river, they flowed with his children, and he was the fountain of truth we all drank from, and when he held forth, we would not interrupt him. My father named every flower in the garden, each star in the night by their right constellation. He knew all the birds by their song, and they sang it. My father could never be wrong. His hands were a gun, and they brought down the rabbit. He fed us on flesh that was studded by bullets. There was fire in his fist. There was gold in his pocket. My father turned water to wine, and he drank it. He needed no prayer and no God, for he was the word. And he rang like a hammer. Oh, my father was victor. He rode on our shoulders. He rode deep inside us. We carried my father through hell and high water. We proved ourselves worthy of love. And his love was a river in flood. The sun made him happy. The truth was soft mud in his hands. Oh, truly, he was the truth, and he was the glory, and he filled all the rooms with his song and his story. His whisper could silence a house. For my father bore pain that you could not imagine. His forearms were scarred, and his fingers were broken. His lungs were a pit, and his heart was a puncture. Oh, my father was hard, and my father was tender, and his hand was a mark we will all wear forever. Oh, thank you. And staying with a biblical theme, as you might notice, about 4 years ago, my daughter asked me to write a poem about Noah, was specifically about Noah's wife. And the opportunity came when I was writing the sequence of poems about flooding. Low-lying regions inundated, large objects begin to float. My man was not blameless, but he knew his own mind. He loved his sons, his God, his goats. We were solid as wood, we were steady as bread. It was not perfect, it was what I had. I brought up boys in a time of war. I loved them. I had no choice. And this is my voice. You would not believe the violence. How the ground was covered in minutes, how quickly our valley was Nile. When the river came with a sound like battle, and when all the waters were one, then we knew how angry we'd made him, and it was too late to run. When I tell you, I feared for my life, for my children, you cannot imagine. When I say I saw people drown, I looked in their face and I could not help them. Ours was the only boat in that ocean, a boat the size of a zoo, a mansion, a sea, the size of the world. I lived to see what I loved destroyed, and all my world was unmade. 40 days, the boredom and stink and the darkness. No wonder the birds pulled out their feathers and the bear banged his head on the wall. And when the rain stopped, then the silence. The mountains a dream and the waters beneath us. I think that day there was sun. When floods recede, they don't leave a world made shiny and bright. For years, I'll be cleaning up shit. No bird, no branch can put this right. No trick of the light. No, I'll never do it again. No God, no man. I loved him. I had no choice. And this is my voice. It takes more than a dove, and I will not forgive. I have promised you redemption, and I have promised you that this is a book as much about survival and about resilience and about love. And this is where it starts. This is a poem called Rescue Effort. Look, it has stopped. You lifted your sofa on blocks. You saved some stock. You did whatever you could. You worked hard. Your daughter was never afraid. Now look. The sun has come back. Hedges are heavy with light, fields shine, and those sheep are still waiting for rescue. They will be saved, as will you. So I've talked about on Boxing Day, 26th of December 2015, the floods that came and ruined the town. But on 27th of December, there was another kind of force that came to the town. I always remember it like the sound of an army marching. And it was all the people walking into town with their buckets and their mops and their shovels and on hot soup and free sandwiches. All the people that came from all over to help. So I think one way of measuring the impact of a flood is not just by the destruction that it causes, but by the goodness. This is called measures of goodness. Those swilling for others. Those who form armies of buckets and brushes. Those bailing water from fast-filling cellars. Those making cuppers for neighbours and strangers. Those who would see no one cold. those saving homes when their own have gone under, those stood behind or in front of the cameras who do it for nothing or glory or wages, those posting pictures on Facebook and Twitter, those sending texts, those risking their necks, those stopping their cars for a look, those who battle to cattle and horses, who shoulder the weight of the sheep, their soaked fleeces, those wading waist deep on deep roads to old ladies, those on bridges that will not hold, those driving all night to bring fodder to farmers, those who make profit from badly built houses, those who make thunder, those born to power, who shoulder the blame for the rain and the river, those who have ruined your town, who have choked up the drains, who have broken your home, those who send water to drown all the chickens, those who would watch you go down, and your children who are rain, and those who are sun. Thank you. We're reaching the end now. I think I've just got 3 more poems, but I can't find my list, so I can't remember. We'll see how we get on. This is a poem called Major Structures Destroyed, Terrain significantly altered. It sounds grim, but it's not. The valley has shifted. The landscape you took for granted, whatever it meant, has changed. Rivers have altered their courses. Centuries-old bridges have failed. No number of sandbags could stop this. You will not walk here again. Your boots and your compass were useless. She's gone. She's left you mapless. Now, you must find your own way in the darkness. Find your own way by the stars. I was just making myself laugh then, thinking that's my version of a happy poem. And how about this one? Catastrophic devastation, damage complete. Woo! Happy, happy. This is, again, there's lots of place names and there's some river names that you will not have heard of, but as I say, many people in the UK wouldn't either. So it's a kind of litany of many of the losses that we experienced in 2015. But it's also about the loss of a relationship, about reaching that point in a relationship where you go, with all in the will in the world, with all the love in the world, enough, enough, no more. Enough of rapid water. Enough of the current and roar. Enough of the anger. Enough of the colder. Enough of the Eden and Loon and the Cocker, the Air and the Derwent, the Ribble and Greta. Enough of the Don and the Dee and the Coulter. Enough of the waiting. Enough of the checking. Enough of the waking up each night to listen to rain, the rhythm of rain on the roof. Enough of the grief of packing your stuff. Enough of slipping and losing your footing, of trying to stand up again. Enough of being wet of water. Enough of tap and bath and shower. Enough of gentle rain and flowers. Enough of love and where it takes us, ruined places. Enough of broken shops and homes. Enough of dreams. Enough of plans. Enough of made-up words for weather. Enough of words that did not save us. Enough of friends with shut-down faces. Enough of toppled trees uplifted. Enough of major structures shifted. Enough of wood and concrete lifted. Enough of nothing left to lift. Enough of nothing left. Enough of loss. Enough of luck. Enough of Wally, Keswick, York. Enough of what will not come back. Enough of what we could not change. Enough of grief and anger, love. Enough. Enough of rain. Thank you. I might contact Worley. It's this tiny town in Lancashire. Let them know I've been talking about them in Mumbai. I'm going to read one last poem from the sequence, and then I'm going to finish with one poem from my daughter. I can't believe, as the night draws in and the light's coming on, that it's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon where she is, and she's, having her sandwiches at school. So one last poem from the sequence. This is a poem called Flood as Redemption, and it's about that search for meaning. And it's about flood, as I say, as a metaphor for destruction, but about the fact that in everything that's dark, there's light. And it's a celebration of that, and it's a celebration of writing. So it feels like a really good one to be able to read here. In knowing the value of light when it has gone out. In knowing the true weight of rain. The carpet will stink and the fridge will not make it. In seeing what needs to be done and in doing it. In wading in, up to your waist, in staring the sky in the face, in meeting the storm, head on in the drink of it. In how you were soaked to the skin in the rain sweeping in how all your rivers were one in the chemistry of it. Molecules pushed to their limit in the moment of pivot and spill. In what you thought would hold forever. Earth gone to water. Tree turned to river, the shifting of boulder, the bringing together of neighbor and stranger in the swim of it, in what it did to our town, and in knowing it will come again, and in singing it, writing it down. Thank you. And I'm going to finish with a poem for Neve. That's my daughter. It was her birthday 2 days ago. She's 11. Neve means beauty and light. It's an Irish name. So until I started writing this sequence of poems on flooding, the floods have all finished now. The floods have dried up and we're out of them. We're all dry. We've all been saved. We can look back and think about it. I used to be scared of water, particularly dark water. But as I was writing this sequence, I started swimming, and then I started swimming everywhere I could swim, and I was swimming in rivers, and I was swimming in lakes and reservoirs and ponds and pools and muddy pools and fast rivers, and I was swimming through the winter, even when I had to smash the ice to get in. That hurts. And I started teaching my daughter to swim in open waters as well. So this is a poem about that experience. It's a poem about swimming, and it's a poem about love, and it's a poem about letting go, and it's for Neve. Teaching your daughter to swim in open waters, though you don't know the depth of the lake at its center, who might have died there, whether the pike will scare her or bite her, if the current will pull her down. At the level of water, the mountains are higher. The cold is a world she will walk to and enter, where the deep mud is softer than skin. Let the pebbles swim under her feet. All the darkness beneath her is answered by birds, and the trees will be tall and kind. The sun will light up the water above her. When there's no ground left to stand on, then she'll fly. Though the cold makes her teeth ache, she can take it. The rain cannot soak her. The swan will not harm her. No dead man will reach out his hand. You will watch her, leaving the shore behind, and the current will flow the right way. That day, the water will hold her and take her far from you. Now let her go from you. Let go.